Hello, everyone out there in Rumble, X, and YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego. And we're going to talk some more about Swingers. That's right, Swingers from 1996. Okay, the Jon Favreau movie with Vince Vaughn. Wonderful movie. I love it a lot. It's got a lot of laughs in it. It's very funny. But most importantly, it's very real. It's very authentic. Okay, Jon Favreau wrote what he knew when he wrote the screenplay for this. Okay, he wrote about struggling actors in Hollywood. You know, in 1996, what it's like. All right, and he added some other flair to it as well. The music is very choice. Okay, a lot of it's old stuff. Even back then, it was old. You know, a lot of Tony Bennett, Dean Martin. You know, swing dancing music, like stuff like that. You know, a lot of jazz from like the 50s and 60s. You know, that kind of thing. You know, Rat Pack music. All right. Also, some 80s stuff was in there as well. Okay. And also the clothes. If you look at the clothes, okay, the men in this movie, they've all got short hair. They're all wearing like bowling shirts. They're all, you know, wearing shiny shoes and things like that. Slacks, you know, not jeans. No one's wearing jeans in this movie. Okay. And if you look at the women in this movie, a lot of them have their hair done like in the old 1940s. Okay, like something like Hedy Lamarr would have. Okay, you know, or Carol Landis or something like that. You know. Ava Gardner, you know, that kind of thing. If you look at their hairstyles, they have that with no explanation. You just notice like, oh wow. I mean, we know because of the references around that this movie takes place in 1996, but based on, you know, on the vernacular, like they say things like, hey baby, daddy, you know, honey, you know, that's some money, you know, these little catchphrases, these little euphemisms that they use. Okay, and also the clothes, you know, the hairstyles that the women and the men have. You know, you would think a lot of this movie could easily take place in the 1940s. Okay, and that was all on purpose. It's called Swingers because they wanted you to think about swing dancing. There's actually a swing dancing scene later on in the movie. Okay, but that's kind of like the mindset they wanted you to go with. That's why they chose the music the way it did. That's why they chose the wardrobe the way it did. Okay, that's why it's in LA. You know, that's why, you know, the men, you know, look the way that they do. You know, so I thought that was kind of a nice touch. Because that's what separates this from other movies that would deal with the same subject matter, okay, about guys, a bunch of straight guys trying to get laid, okay. These are not like guys like that are professional. They're not like, you know, making six figures a year or more, okay. They don't have an entourage of women, you know, around them. You know, all of them want to get a fucking wanting their cock. You know, they don't have any of that stuff, okay. These are guys, are normal, average guys trying to become actors, you know, complaining to each other about their lack of work, okay, lack of success or whatever. You know, they're very self-conscious about how they come across, about how successful they are, you know, or lack of success that they have, you know, and and what other people think about them. You know, that's very important to them, you know, and that's clearly explained, okay, and portrayed by the main character, Mike Peters, played by Jon Favreau. Yes, he made himself the main character in this movie, okay. He deals with all those insecurities, his professional life and his personal life. He can't get past his ex-girlfriend and him breaking up, that he left back in New York, and she's with somebody else now. He's been in LA for 6 months. His career hasn't taken off the way he wanted it to or hoped it would, okay, and he can't stop thinking about his ex and how much he misses her and how maybe he screwed up in breaking up with her and moving to LA. Maybe that was the wrong choice. Maybe he should try to win her back, go back home, or get her to come there, all this kind of stuff. And despite the fact that he knows that she's already moved on with another guy, you know, he has not moved on. He doesn't even want to like try to move on. He doesn't even want to flirt with other girls. So, you know, because he's scared of being rejected again, he's scared, okay, of all these things. He just doesn't want to try. Now, he's not going to say, he doesn't say that out loud, but we know that's the reason, okay? He doesn't want to try because he doesn't want, you know, he's afraid that women aren't going to like him, you know? And so rather than accept that, he would rather just call women they're all skanks, they're all losers, none of them make me feel good, none of them make me feel like my ex-girlfriend made me feel. All these excuses he keeps making so that he doesn't have to play the game, okay? You see what I mean? Okay, he's just a coward. Now, I'm not going to berate him for this, okay, but, you know, we've all had our lapses. I know, goddamn well I know I have. You know, I've been through the heartbreak too. I think that's what makes this movie so relatable, is a lot of us guys have been through exactly what Mike's going through. We know what it's like. We know what it's like to feel that way. We know what it's like to feel invisible to women. We know what it's like to fucking try to move on and try to, you know, disassociate from an ex, you know, but yet you can't. You can't because, you know, that's, you know, you still have feelings for that person. You can't move on. You know what I mean? You feel like you can't move on. You actually can. Okay, we all know what that's like. Okay, so it's very relatable. So watching Mike go through this stuff, you know, it reminds us what we're going through, or if we're going through it at that time. You know, watching someone else go through it, you know, it's kind of, there's a comfort there that you're not alone. That other people go through this, and at some point, everybody goes through this. Okay, nobody escapes a broken heart. Nobody escapes, you know, wanting to be with somebody they're no longer with, not men or women. You know, and so, but to see this from a man's point of view, you know, realistically, you know, and to see how the men react to him realistically, if they know a guy like this. Okay, we've all of us have known guys like this. Okay, I've been the shoulder to cry on several times. I've also had to cry on someone's shoulder before. All right, I've been the fucking Trent Walker in other guys' lives, and you know, and I've also had the Trent Walker show up in my life as well. So you know, we all play these roles, but we understand. You know, we understand. Okay, that these are issues that men go through, because women can't understand these issues, not the way, because they don't go about it the way that we do. They don't deal with it the way we do. You know, you don't see guys fucking reaching for the fucking Haagen-Dazs. Okay, you don't see that. Okay, we deal with things differently. All right, and this movie pretty much shows that. You know, and so it's an antidote for a lot of brokenheartedness for a lot of guys out there. Like, what do? You know, you've got to fucking suck it up. You know, you got to suck it up and be a man and deal with it like a man. This movie is a pretty good example of how not to do it and how to do it. All right, that's why I love this movie so much. That's why so many guys love this movie so much. This is one of my top 3 best guy movies ever made. Now, another one that's in my top 3 was High Fidelity. I already reviewed that one. Okay, I reviewed that one last year. So if you want to see the videos on that, it's on here. Okay, that's another movie that deals with men and their relationships. You know, chick flick for guys. Okay, it's all about relationships, but from a man's point of view. And the key here is the men in the movie actually act like men. They're not these fucking soy pussy boys like you see today in all the goddamn rom-coms that feature a man as the male character. That's all bullshit. Guys don't act that way. Okay? Or some bullshit like Sex and the City or something where there are no men on that show. Okay? There's no men that act like men on that show at all. Okay? You know, now I'm talking about that. I'm talking about real men acting like real men, dealing with you know, subject matter that usually women deal with in chick flicks. Okay? Not this time. This is definitely a chick flick for guy. All right. Now, the last scene where we talked about here, Trent and Mike were at some sort of a restaurant in Vegas, and they're going to get some breakfast, and then they're going to meet some girls. Okay. Now, Trent was flirting with this waitress. He told her basically, hey, meet us over at this bar when we're doing breakfast. Okay, bring a hot friend with you. Okay, and she agreed to it. She said, okay, yeah, because she likes Trent. Because he's the life of the party. He's got the gift of gab. He knows how to talk to girls. He's very self-confident. He's very optimistic. He's funny. He's making jokes. Okay, and right now he's trying to help out Mike. He knows that Mike's in a funk about his ex-girlfriend. He's depressed and lonely. Okay, and insecure. So he's trying to get him out of that funk. You know, that's something that a good friend does. You know, hey, dude, you know what? I know you're upset and you're depressed. Fuck this sad man shit. Let's go to Vegas. Let's get you laid. Come on. You know, that's a good thing. You know, guys need friends like that. You know. And so he's trying to, but of course, you know, it's like skiing uphill. You know, Mike is just he is committed to his fucking depression. He's committed to his self-pity. He doesn't want to let go of it. You know, he uses excuses like, oh, none of these skanks measure up to my ex-girlfriend or any of that kind of bullshit. You know, oh, these women are all losers. But all that, you know, these women are stupid. You know, and no, they're not. They're not. Okay, he's just scared. Okay, and because of that, because he's unsure of himself, it comes across in the way he talks to them, which makes him very unattractive. Okay, he's fumbling his words. He's trying to act like he has more money than he really does. He's depressed, you know. He tries to flirt with these girls. The waitresses, they actually do meet the waitresses later on at the bar. You know, one of them is dressed like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, so he's like, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore. And nobody thought that was a funny line. And they immediately ask him, so what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm a comedian. Which is very funny. Very, very funny. He tries to flirt with the waitress at the restaurant where they had breakfast. He says, you know, it says here, breakfast served at any time. Well, I would like my breakfast in the Age of Enlightenment. Okay, and she does not laugh at that. She thinks it's stupid and walks away. So he's like, oh my God, I should have made such a French philosophical reference. Like, I expect her to know what that is, you know? And then he asks her, hey, ma'am, and she's like, hold on there, Voltaire. You know, like, so she didn't know what the Age of Enlightenment was, and she just thought it wasn't funny. You know, that kind of stuff. He has no game. But credit to where credit's due. Trent, Vince Vaughn's character, is doing his best to brighten his mood, to try to, like, you know, to bolster his self-esteem. You know, early in the movie, you know, when Mike was complaining about losing all the money, you know, at Vegas, you know, he lost all the money that he brought with him, you know. and Trent didn't, you know. He's like, hey, you know what? I might be an asshole, Mike, okay, but who's the big winner tonight? Who's the big winner tonight? Huh? I'll tell you the big winner is Mikey. Mikey's the big winner. Mikey wins. You know, he does all that shit. It's hilarious. Okay, and the breakfast scene that I talked about in the last video, he's basically telling Mike, hey, listen, you know, cut this sad bastard sensitive shit. Women don't like that. They're not attracted to that. You're not going to get laid, okay? Moping around, feeling sorry for yourself, trying to be all respectful and shit to women. Women know that you're looking at them. They know that you're attracted to them, okay? That's why they dress up. That's why they spend all that time trying to make themselves look the way they do, okay? You just got to let them know that it's working, okay, and that you're the bomb, okay, that you're money and that you're ready to party, which is so true. And you don't see that in movies anymore. No one would ever allow it. You think some, but all the fucking lesbo fucking pussy eating lesbians that run all the that censor all the fucking movies. You think they would ever allow that? A straight guy telling another straight guy how to get laid? You think they would ever allow that in a fucking movie today in 2024? No, they sure as fuck wouldn't. The only reason that they allowed it in this one is because it was an independent movie made for $250,000. Okay, in 1996, no less. Okay, 28 years ago. That's the only reason it was allowed back then. Okay, Hollywood's never going to show men accurately how to pick up girls or how to talk to women or how to bolster their self-esteem. Hollywood doesn't give a shit what men feel. They only give a shit what women feel. That's why everything's all about the woman. Okay, that's why this genre is all about the woman. How do you make the woman feel? You know, what are you doing for the woman? It's never about what you're doing for the guy, because nobody gives a shit. This movie actually does give a shit. And he's telling him, hey, listen, quit being a fucking pussy boy, okay? You know, you like a girl, you let her know you like her. Let her know what's working. Let her know you're attracted to her. Okay, otherwise she's wasting her time. And you want to know what women respect? They don't respect fucking you trying to be all honest, okay? They don't respect you trying to act all fucking, you know, gentlemanly and shit. Like, what they respect is honesty. You know, and this is so true, and I'm glad they put that in the movie, okay? That's one of the reasons I love this movie so right, you know? So anyway, so the scene that we're at now, like I said, they went to the bar. They met the two girls, the two waitresses. Well, one waitress, and the other one is a Dorothy. She works at the MGM. That's why she's still dressed like Dorothy. Okay, and they're flirting with them, blah, blah. Like I said, Mike fumbles. He said, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore. That did not fucking work. Okay, he said he was a comedian. That did not fucking work. And then they asked Trent, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm a producer. Now the girls look at each other like, oh, now I got him wet. I got him wet. Well, of course. What do you think women are looking for in Vegas or Hollywood? They're all looking for the next gig. That's all anybody cares about, okay? I know actors, I know comedians, I know musicians, okay? I lived in a big city. I worked with all of them, okay? I did some acting myself, okay? And let me tell you something. All they care about is who is going to get me to where I want to go, okay? Who's going to get me that job that I want? Who's going to get me? Who's going to cast me, okay? What do I got to do to make an audition for this? You know, who do I got to blow to fucking get cast in this? Okay, that kind of thing. It's so fucking true. So when you meet a producer, that gets a lot of pussies wet. It definitely does, you know. So like I said, Trent knows what to say to the women. Mike does not fucking know. All right. So anyway, so they ask him they ask Mike who his booking agent is, you know, because remember he said he was a comedian, right? So who's your booking agent, you know, and is who was his rep? Okay, you know, who's your booking agent? He's like, well, actually, I don't have any current representation, you know, out west. He's like, and she's like, well, who is your booking agent out east? He's like, well, actually, you know, it was more like a freelance, you know. I just knew a lot of people, that kind of thing, you know. So he doesn't know what to say. He realizes that he's not scoring any points to these women. These women they're also like him. Okay, they're trying to be actors. They're trying to get those jobs. Okay, that's why they work this bullshit. That's why they work as waitresses. That's why they work as Dorothy and at the fucking MGM Grand. It's a stepping stone to get some fucking work. They're all in the same hustle as he is, and they just know more about it than he does. They're more successful at it than he is. Okay, you know, and that makes him feel insecure because obviously these women know a lot more about the business and they have a lot more, you know, clout than he does, and they're nothing. You know, so anyway, so he stammers about how he freelances on his own, you know. Anyway, because the one girl, Christy, the one waitress, not the one just like Dorothy, okay, she's clearly attracted to Trent, okay. So she invites them back to their place. She makes an excuse like, oh, you know, we're not really, since we're employees, we're not really allowed to drink here. So why don't we just go back to my place, you know? And of course, Trent and Mike agree to that. You know, that's fine. Okay, so they go back to the trailer where she lives. She lives in this old school trailer. It looks like a 1960s, 50s trailer. Okay, and then they're sitting on the couch there. It's a shithole little trailer, but you know, these are young girls trying to make it, you know, in Vegas. And Trent's there telling the story. Okay, he's there. He's very animated. Okay, very funny. You know, the way he tells the story tells you a lot about his personality. He knows how to talk to women. He's very comfortable with this. He's probably told this story many times before. But basically, he's got all three of them enthralled with this story about this audition that he went on. Okay, it was for one of those after-school specials, Billy don't do drugs, that kind of stuff, And I get in there, and he's got that voice, he's got that nasally voice. Which probably the only thing I don't like about him is that for a guy who's this masculine, he's got a very a nasally, whiny voice. Okay, kind of like this, kind of like a Jerry Lewis, like that. Okay, that I don't like. Everything else, his tone, the way he presents himself, the way he tells the story, the way he pontificates all this stuff is great. Okay, it's just that one, just his voice just kind of gets on my nerves a little bit, all right? But other than that, he's a great guy, all right? So they're doing that, okay? And he goes off on the story about how an audition he had for an after-school special, he was auditioning for the role of brother, and Mike says well, was it big brother, little brother? He's like, it was just brother. Now, one cool thing we notice here is Mike has his arm around Dorothy, or I guess her name's Lisa, right? I think that's her real name, Lisa. Okay, and she has her hand in his. So clearly, he's picked the girl that he wants to be with. Okay, and he's scoring points with her. Okay, she's attracted to him. She likes him. He's got his arm around her. So obviously something's going to happen, okay? And I always love that. I always love that when it's a group of us, guys and girls are there, and you meet a girl, you don't really know her that well, but you talk to her a little bit, and then slyly you put your hand in hers and she squeezes back, so it's like, okay, it's on. I love those moments, usually when you're young and stuff, you go to a party, you meet someone for the first time, and you all just click, I love that stuff, but the man has to make the first move, okay? And that is true, and he does that. He does that, so there's hope for him, okay? Anyway, so he's talking about this audition, okay? He talks about he went up there, he read for the role of brother, and he did his own thing, and all of a sudden, the director started crying, and then he looks over and the cameraman started crying, and then the other actor he was auditioning with, he started crying, he's like, oh my God, even the cameraman was like, because I looked at him, man, he's like, he had his own stuff going on, and just the way he tells the story is so funny, So it gets a standing ovation from everyone there, okay? And everyone's crying, and even the director's like, you gotta give me a minute, because his performance was so on point, he made everybody cry, okay? The cameraman too, and then the director went up to him and told him, you know what, when I saw you in there, I did not see Trent Walker. I saw Big Brother. And I've actually used this line myself, in my own conversations with people, so I stole it from this movie, all right? But then he tells him, he's like, you know what, but I think you might just be a little too old for the role. He's like, too old? I thought I looked too young. I thought I looked too young. And he tells the girl, like, look, do I look too young? Do I look too young? No. Why'd you have me read for it anyway if you know I'm too old? That kind of thing, So basically he's talking about an audition that he went for that he didn't get, for a role he didn't get, all right? But the way he told the story was so funny, Anyway, the girls are enthralled. They're like that, And then finally, Chrissy, the waitress, she basically, she's like, you know what? How rude of me. I have not shown you around my place. Let me show you the bedroom. And so, so they get up and they're like, oh, okay. So obviously, okay, Trent's there to get laid and it's working, okay? And I'm sure he's done this before, Anyway, so she wants to fuck him right away. So she takes him back to her bedroom, okay? This little tiny little room inside the trailer, Okay, and they go off there together, right? Well, that leaves Mike and Lisa alone on the couch, okay? And Trent, before he goes in the room and closes the door, he sticks his head out just to check up on Mike. And it looks, from the way he can see, he sees Lisa's head right in front of Mike. Okay, so it looks like they're making out. So Trent's like that, okay, mission accomplished. I got you laid tonight, all right? Now you can stop crying about that ex-girlfriend of yours back in New York. So that's what he's thinking, okay, I'm not gonna abandon my friend with this girl. I gotta make sure that he's into her and she's into him, that kind of thing, because he's a good friend. I'm telling you, man, Mike does not realize what a good friend he has. Most guys wouldn't give a shit. They wouldn't. I've known guys that fucking, if the other girl didn't like the other guy, man, he was like, oh, dude, you can leave. All right, but I'm still gonna stay here with this girl, because she likes me, I'm gonna fuck her, and you can just find your own way home. I've seen that happen before. Okay, so the fact that Trent didn't do that, I mean, it says a lot about Trent. He's a good guy. All right, that's someone you definitely want in your corner. All right, so that's going on because most guys don't do that. All right, so anyway, so he checks on them, whatever. Okay, but it turns out that Mike and Lisa are not kissing each other. Mike is just telling her the story about his fucking ex-girlfriend Michelle back in New York. Okay, how about how she'll call? He's like, I don't know, man. I'm thinking about like should I call her or should I wait for her to call me? And Lisa tells him like, oh, don't worry about it. She'll call. She will call. Okay, so she's all into it now. Okay, not attracted to him, but now she's giving him relationship advice. Okay. Now she's giving him relationship advice. Instead of fucking him, which is what they should be doing, which would actually help him get over Michelle, he's there complaining to her about the shit he complains to everybody and any guy who will fucking listen to him about his ex-girlfriend, how he misses her, and how he doesn't know if he should call her or she should call him. He checks his messages every fucking day, but he didn't check his messages today because he's in Vegas. Okay, so he decides, she's like, don't worry, he'll call. He's like, he's just, man, but I haven't been in a relationship in 6 years, She's like, well, it's a rebound. But she's seeing some of the guy now, and I don't know what to do. He's like, well, how long? It's a rebound. That's all it is. That's all it is a rebound. I mean, how long did you date her? 6 years? And how long was her relationship before you? He's like, 6 years? That kind of thing. It's not going to last. It's not going to last. Why? I should really check my messages and see if she called. Well, she'll call you. You should go check them. Because, well, you know what? I can't sit here and make out with you even though you're hot and I really want to. I need to go get to a phone and call and check my messages. Okay. Well, the own phone is in the fucking bedroom, which is occupied right now with Trent and Christy. So what does he do? Okay. What does he do? He decides to go in there and cock block both of them, honestly. And he knocks on the door. He's like, what do you want? He's like, dude, I gotta use a phone, okay? I gotta check my messages, okay? So he basically interrupts them when they're about to fuck, which is so fucking bad. So I would never forgive him for this. He would not be my friend anymore if he pulled this shit on me. Okay, so anyway, so of course Trent, who's fucking pretty much naked now, he's got to use a fucking blanket to cover his shit. He walks out of there, and then fucking half-dressed fucking Chrissy walks out of there. And while they're doing that, he's telling them, "Oh, it's not long distance. I got a phone card, so it's not gonna cost you anything. I got a phone card, so it'll just be a minute, all right? It's just, I got a phone card, so it's Anyway, he goes in there, right? And now here's fucking naked fucking Trent sitting there on the couch, all fucking pissed off. Okay, the two girls are talking to each other. Lisa's telling Christy everything that fucking Mike said about how his girlfriend and them broke up and he misses her, but he's afraid to call. And he should check his messages to see if she called him. Is it a rebound, the guy that she's with? Okay, are they gonna get back together? All that kind of fucking shit. And of course, Christy's just like, because this is the shit girls talk about, other people's relationships, right? Okay, and Trent is just like, and I'd be pissed off too. All right. Anyway, so that's going on here. Okay. And Mike, he was only have a calling card, but Trent's pissed off. So now the waitresses are too busy talking about this. Okay. Okay. So she's not, Christy's not horny anymore, and neither is fucking Lisa. Okay. Well, Mike comes out of there. He's like, and they're like, oh, did she call? The two girls like, did she call? And Mike's like, she didn't call. And they're like, oh. And they jump up and give him a fucking hug, both of them. And Trent's just sitting there like, like, what the fuck, man? You just fucking cock blocked me for nothing. For nothing. Well, now the girls aren't horny anymore, so they're like, I'm gonna make some coffee and shit. And they decide to make some fucking coffee. So Trent did not get laid tonight, okay? And of course, fucking, Trent's pissed off at this, okay? So later on, when they're leaving, they're going back to LA. They're driving back to LA across the desert now. They stop over on the side of the fucking highway in the middle of the fucking desert so that Trent can take a piss, okay? And he's pissing on the road, okay? And he complains, okay, and Trent's like, both those girls thought you were money, okay? Those girls thought you were money, Mike, And Mike, of course, is in the fucking shotgun seat feeling sorry for himself. They didn't like me. They didn't like me, Trent, man. They didn't like me, man. No girl likes me. Once again, feeling sorry for himself like he has been this entire fucking movie, okay? And then Trent, just like, while he's pissing, he just looks at him, he zips up and walks over there and gets in the car. He's like, listen, man, your self-esteem is low, okay? Because she's with another guy, okay? But talking about it over and over again is fucking depressing, okay? You got to get back out there. Beating yourself up about it, sitting around drinking, okay, orange juice in the middle of your fucking apartment, sitting on the floor, okay? It's not going to fucking help you, okay? Now look at where you are, okay? You're starting to get some acting work now, okay? And what is she doing, okay? She's fucking selling scrap metal, okay? And her guy fucking, what does her guy do, huh? What's his job? He's like, well, I heard that he drives a carriage in Central Park. What the fuck? He drives a fucking carriage? Your fucking money and you're sweating some fucking long jockey? You're better off without her. And you need to go out there, you need to fucking try. Okay? Because you're never going to get over her if you keep fucking crying about her like a little fucking bitch. This is so true. This is so fucking true, but you're never going to see it in a rom-com. You're never going to see it in an action movie. You're never going to see it in a fucking drama. You're never going to see it in a goddamn fucking thing. The only time I can think of recently where I saw anything even close to this was there's a movie that came out, I think like 10 years ago. Yeah, that's how long ago, 10 fucking years ago. Okay, it was called Don John, all right? And it was with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Scarlett Johansson. Maybe I think Julianne Moore was in it too. Okay, I think now you know the movie I'm talking about. Don John, all right. And in this movie, he's a guy, he's a player, whatever. He falls in love with Scarlett Johansson, all that kind of shit. She wants him to go back to college. She wants him to do all this fucking shit. He brings her around his parents. There's a wonderful scene where Tony Danza plays his dad, where he's talking shit to the guy's mom, and it's fucking hilarious. Okay, but anyway, at the end of the movie, I would spoil it for you. Okay, Don John. At the end of the movie, they break up. Okay, and fucking Don John is a bit heartbroken about it. He's talking to his family about it and shit. But his little sister tells him, hey, listen, you know what? This girl, okay, all she was trying to do was fucking change you into something you're not. Okay? Trying to make you into something that you're not. That's all she was trying to do. Okay? And you let her fucking get to you, and you let her fucking try to change you and stuff, make you do things that you don't want to do. Okay? And now you're crying because she's not there anymore. What the hell? Okay? She was never there for you. You're crying over nothing. You're crying over a girl that you don't even fucking want. And that's the truth. And all of a sudden it clicked to him at the end of the movie, like, oh my God, you're right. Because the whole movie was built up about him falling in love with, like, he fucked all these girls, but then he met Scarlett Johansson, and she was the one that fucking took his breath away, and that he legitimately fell in love with and wanted to marry and wanted to stay with her and have kids with her and all that kind of shit. You see what I mean? Okay? But then at the end, his little sister tells him, this girl was a bitch. This girl's a bitch. But she was a bitch the whole time. You just don't want to see it. You didn't realize it. You see what I mean? So at the end of the movie, after all the fucking simping that he does, and all that stuff, he finally realized at the end, because of his sister, no less, that it was good that she left. You see what I mean? But you had to get to the end of the movie to get there. This movie's telling you right away, like in the opening scene here, this dude, what the fuck are you crying about this bitch? What the fuck's wrong with you? Grow a fucking pair and man up. So of course Mike, is like, oh, okay, I'll try. But he's still a soy boy. Anyway, so that's what this movie's about. It's about Mike trying to get his balls back, okay? If he ever really had them, okay? And try to get over this shit and fucking put yourself out there again, okay? And risk getting hurt and risk rejection, risk all those things, okay? The fact that he's not happy means he wants to be with someone. Well, the only way you're going to be with someone is to fucking put yourself out there, okay? You're going to meet a lot of fucking losers before you find one that you're going to like, okay? And then you're going to go through some of those before you find one that you'll fall in love with. And then you're going to go through some of those before you find one that loves you too. Okay? It's a numbers game. There's no way around it. All right? That's how it works. You got to be strong enough and durable enough to take the fucking hits to your self-esteem that dating by nature is going to give you. That's just the way it is. There's no way around it. Be a fucking man. Anyway, so Mike plays golf with Rob. That's Ron Livingston's character. Later on, the next scene, okay, and of course Rob is just like Mike. He's complaining, fucking self-pity too. He's complaining because he got a job playing Goofy. Yes, Walt Disney World, Disneyland. He got a job playing Goofy. Okay, and he's embarrassed because he'll have to ask his parents to send him more money now and shit because he didn't get that pilot. You know, that kind of shit. His parents don't realize that he never got the pilot. You know, that kind of shit. Okay, and Mike is like, well, I didn't mean to mention it. He tells her while they're playing golf, he's like, you know what? Do you notice something, Rob? I never mentioned her once today. And Rob's like, yeah. He was like, I didn't want to say anything, because I didn't want to like ruin anything. But yeah, I noticed that, So he's proud of himself for not mentioning Michelle today. Because obviously that's what he does to everyone. He just talks about his ex-girlfriend, Michelle. Anyone who will listen to him, he just talks about his ex-girlfriend, Michelle. What a fucking loser. All right. I'm going to stop my review right here, but I'll be back shortly to continue my review of Swingers. I thank you very much for watching this long, and I will see you soon on the next one. Bye.